Hello, I'm Daniel. I wanted to talk about what Zen is. So there's a famous 4-line description of the Zen tradition, and it has come down to us through the ages, and it's supposed to be what sets Zen apart from other branches of Buddhism and also from other non-Buddhist philosophies as well. It's supposed to be what really makes Zen different. This description is attributed to Bodhidharma, who is credited with bringing the Zen tradition to China, but it doesn't really matter who said it. What matters is that these 4 lines express what the Zen tradition in an ideal setting is all about and why it's important. They are a separate transmission outside the scriptures, not dependent upon words and letters, direct pointing at the human mind, seeing one's nature and becoming Buddha. These might sound good, but they could also be a little confusing, so I'm going to go ahead and go into explaining what each one means. A separate transmission outside the scriptures, this means our practice is in our lives. We aren't just studying sacred texts all the time, and we also aren't just talking about how great Buddhism is all the time. We want to actualize the teachings in our lives. And hopefully we're able to do that. Hopefully our practice doesn't just exist in the meditation room, but also in our day-to-day life. The hope is that it helps us. That it helps us move through the world in a more awakened way. Because if it doesn't help us in our ordinary day-to-day life, then I don't know why we're doing it. And I think that's something that in some Buddhist traditions might get lost. Might get lost. And then hopefully we also can have a dedicated relationship with a teacher and or a community. Hopefully both, but at least one. And that can help us on the path a lot, because going it alone, not impossible, really challenging. Really challenging. It's like not giving yourself the best tools you could have. It's like, yeah. So the second one is not dependent on words and letters. So Buddhist writing points in the direction of awakening. But ultimately, writings, even the words of the Buddha, should be viewed as maps and hints, and not really as sacred texts. They are to be relied on only in as far as they can give us advice, they can point us in the right direction, they can keep us on track, but that's it. These writings arose out of someone else's experience, and they represent an effort to describe that experience. They're useful and helpful, but the important point is awakening, and we don't want to come in with intellectual understanding alone. And this is not about, I always try to make this very clear, this is not about the Buddha's spiritual journey. It's about yours. The next one is direct pointing at the human mind. Our aim in this path is awakening. Seeing our true nature, making efforts to recognize our true nature, is the beginning of the path. The fundamental nature of our being is awakening, and what we're trying to do is uncover that. All the teachings are meant to point that out to us. And if a teaching gets too confusing and weird and starts to take us away from that and go somewhere weird, maybe we don't need it. Maybe we need to look at different teachings. It's a teacher's job to figure out what practices you need and give those to you. And sometimes we may be able to figure that out for ourselves, what works for us, and other times we may just never have any idea, and we really need a teacher to tell us what's going to work for us. Which obviously can only come from a long-term relationship with a lot of back and forth. They're not really going to know you if they don't know you. And then last is seeing one's nature and becoming Buddha. So seeing your nature is recognizing your true self, your awakening. Becoming Buddha is actualizing and embodying that, doing what Buddhas do, integrating our activities, our awakening into all the activities of our lives. Now, it's a never-ending process. It's a never-ending process. We are always going to be trying to manifest enlightenment and integrate it into our lives. That's why becoming Buddha, it's a constant becoming. The Zen approach takes awakening as both the entrance to the path and the path itself. We want to give ourselves to our training and follow the path of practice that's been laid out for us. We want to rely on our teachers and communities and truly throw ourselves into the process. That's what it's all about, so that we can manifest awakening in our day-to-day life. That's what it's all about too. This is about becoming more real and more genuine and awake and free. And it's not about becoming a good meditator. Rather, it's about using meditation and some other tools to become just a more genuine and real person, and to manifest more wisdom in our lives. Don't get caught in the trap thinking about that this is about becoming a good meditator, because it's not. Meditation is one tool that we're using. And that's all I have for today, so thank you for taking the time to watch this video.